$1 billion. Ta-da! You did nothing to deserve that money. That's grace. That is unmerited favor. You are blessed with what I have given you. Show me one thing that the Egyptian slaves, the Hebrews, did to warrant God coming down, shaking heaven and earth with awesome wonder, and pulling them out with a mighty hand and says, now you will be my bride. What did they do? They didn't even call out to God. It says they cried out. It says they didn't cry out to God, they just whined. Why is this happening to me? Only later did they say they cried out to God. And he's going, and he lovingly goes over there and he goes, hi, I'm the God of Abraham. I thought it was a folktale. It's been 400 years. I love you that much. That's grace. There is grace, Old Testament, New Testament. He could have just pulled them out and said, you know what? I promised Abraham I'd look after you, so come, hold my hand, I'll kick out Jericho and all the rest of it. This is now your land, I'll see you later, have fun. No. He takes him to Mount Sinai and he goes, will you be mine? He never promised Abraham that would be his bride. That's grace. Yeshua, we did nothing to deserve anyone taking our place. What we deserve is answering for our own sins. I messed up, I mucked up, I will have to answer for that. And God goes, my boy, you won't have to. What did I do that a man chose to die in my place? How did I deserve any of that? Did nothing. That's grace.
The big problem is people don't understand Paul's writings. I mean, for instance, like they say, no, if you follow the law, you're under the curse. You've been cursed. Actually, they don't interpret it right. They say you're cursed.
Yeah.
Instead of you come under the curse when you slip up. Because Yeshua, he took the price of our slip-ups. When we slip up, because we can't follow 100% because of things in our lives, he took that punishment, he took that. And people, they lose that. They lose how beautiful it is, that they get stuck somewhere.
Because the problem is discipleship, peeps. Mishpacha, listen to me. People do not want to let go of their lives. They want to keep their God and they want to do whatever they want and they want to mix and match the two. That's what I did. I call it Christianese. I say all the right things when I'm asking the questions, but man, did I do whatever I want, how I want to do, when I want to do it. Well, I'm not that bad. I haven't killed anybody. I haven't committed adultery. I wasn't married. So technically,
You're okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
How many different examples can we look up with? Well, I don't remember stealing anything. Well, maybe I didn't do it on purpose.
Besides, you cannot keep the law perfectly. No
It's
one can keep
impossible.
it. It's impossible.
I'm only human.
So many people say, okay, they're Christians, and they say, no, I'm not bad. We go to church, we don't do any of these things. Okay? We love Yeshua and they do. But the thing is not following his laws exactly the same as going out and doing all the wrong things anyways. Sin is sin. If you're not following God's laws purposely, you're sin in God's eyes.
Exactly.
Because you are just making it a common thing.
Exactly. We sin day in and day out, and no one's going to be perfect. That's why Yeshua had to come and die for us. The simple fact of the matter is, people do not want to give up their lives. They want to do whatever they want to do, how they want to do it, and they don't want to follow. Time and time again in the Gospels, God looks at you and He goes, come, follow me. I've got to go wash my hair. Call me later. People made excuse after excuse after excuse. And I will challenge you today. If you're making excuses, when He's calling you, wake up. God, who created everything, who holds everything in the palm of His hand, comes into your life and He goes, I need you to do something for me. Can I do it when I'm 75 and don't have much left to do? Like, when I was like 33, I died for you. Yeah, but that's why you're God and I'm me. You can make any excuse you want to. But that He would choose to work through you, to change you, So that you won't be the same person you were that messed up, that broke things, that continually stuck your finger in God's eye. When I realized that I spit in my God's face and I stick my finger in His eye every time I choose to disobey Him, it cut me to the core. The most beloved person you have in your relationship, every time you do something wrong, walk up to them and slap them to the face for no apparent reason. Hi. Bah, I don't like you. And walk. That's what you're doing to God. It sounds ridiculous, but this is what we do. A loving husband stands at your door and he looks at you and he goes, my beloved, welcome home. Shut up, I don't want to talk to you. Just give me 5 minutes. Why don't you go sit outside for another 10 years and I'll decide whether I will confess you. We do that. I didn't. No, but you know, justify as much as you want. He's calling you. He has placed a purpose in your name. He wants to seal you with His name. He died so that you would have life, so that you would not go through this whole horrific thing of living in this perverse and crazy society. And you go, no thanks, I'll rather have the perversion because you actually want me to do something? Come on, man.
Vince, just a comment here. I think it's important that we speak about the Lord, because that's the only way other people can be conscientized. The more you talk about the word, the more people now realize when they're doing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just yesterday I tried to buy something, and the shop owner said to me, no, you can't buy one, you must buy 10. Then, you know, I made such a big sin on Shabbat and just said, how can you expect everybody to be able to afford 10? You won't be able to sell your stock. I'll go where they will sell me one item, not 10. And immediately I realized I'm cursing this poor man. He's sitting there praying that people must buy his stock. And now I'm saying he won't be able to sell as long as you expect that people will buy 10 instead of 1.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what is happening in our world. The reason the Lord is sending us out there to talk to people about His Torah is specifically that everybody must be conscientized when they're doing wrong. Because once a person hasn't reached that level to understand the difference, they'll keep on blaming this or that and other people and not themselves. And that is why education is so important.
Okay. All right. Listen, verse 19. So whoever disobeys the least of these mitzvahot and teaches others to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Notice, if you teach people to disobey Torah, it does not nullify your salvation. You will be called least in the kingdom. You're still in the kingdom. Your relationship with God isn't great though. Okay? You do things because you think you're doing correct. And they nullify God without really understanding it. Okay? Remember, this is not the same as someone who understands the heart of God, who understands Torah, who understands how beautiful it is, and then tells people to forget about it. These are the type of people that go, well, you know what, my grandfather was a godly man till the day he died, but he ate bacon every day. I don't think God's going to be like, oh, he ate bacon. You know? Well, bro, just ring twice, so we can't open it. He probably really was never taught that that stuff is not good for you. Number one, he was never taught that it's about holiness, about setting yourself apart, saying you belong to God. Let's not make God into this legalistic, judgmental type of God who looks at you and goes, oh, you broke one, that's it. He died for you. He loves you. He wants you to have a better life. And it means don't eat stuff that's bad for you. That's why He gave you kosher law. He wants to set you apart. So when you sit down and go, no thanks, I don't eat pork, the first thing that people jumps into their mind is, you're Jewish. You immediately tell the world who you serve by saying, I don't eat bacon. Who do you belong to? God. Why? Because he doesn't eat bacon. What? It's weird, but it was like a serious light bulb moment for me. I declare who I serve by telling people I don't eat pork. I don't even have to go into theology, I don't have to go into anything. I just have to say, no bacon, thanks. That's it.
No, but they don't look at it as if you believe in Yeshua, and then they look at it as if the first thing they'll show you Jewish. They don't look at it
But because they don't, remember, they don't understand that there is true, well, discipleship in its true biblical form means we follow everything of Scripture. They've never heard of this before. And I promise you, as much as Christians get confused, Jews get confused as well. Okay, we've said it time and time again. When you're walking around wearing tzitzit and they go, why are you wearing this? Because I want to. It's beautiful. Yeah, but why? Because it's God's name and I'm a disciple and I want to be like my rabbi. What? You completely blow them out. They don't understand it because it is so, it doesn't compute. For them it becomes about, we do this because we're Jewish. I want you to do it because you love your king. Don't do it for any other reason. They will not wear tzitzit because it is impossible to keep all of the instructions. It's not just about reminding you to keep the instructions. This is what this is. You will see and you will remember to do what is right. That's because God knows. We don't see and we don't remember. He knows we're going to muck up. But this is also saying, I have God's word in my heart and I have Him, I have the seal. His name, I wear with me proudly. I belong to Him. That's not some legalistic man idea. This is me telling the world who I belong to. Finished. Okay? But whoever obeys them and so teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. I don't know about you, but my heart is, Lord, I want to be great for you, so I will teach you Torah. For I tell you that unless your righteousness is far greater than that of the Torah teachers and Pharisees, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. Outward appearances versus heart relationship. They taught Torah, but they never did Torah. Remember, he says, listen to what they say, but don't do as they do. You have heard that our fathers were told, do not commit murder, and that anyone who commits murder will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who nurses anger against his brother will be subject to judgment. That whoever calls his brother, you're good for nothing. What is your translation, Andrew?
Raka.
Raka.
Fool.
Okay, what is a fool, biblically?
Put it bluntly, idiot.
No.
One
Go deeper.
Someone that doesn't knowledge. Someone
That's
that
ignorance to the
does not
word.
know God.
Who does not believe in God. A fool does not acknowledge God. You are cursing him and saying you do not know God. There is no God in your life, you have no God in you, and therefore you are good for nothing.
That's it.
You take away the yud.
That's David's, one of David's wives' husbands. They died.
But it's interesting that he's just quoting. Yeah.
This is what I need you to understand. We went through the portion before, and this is going to go into Mishpatim. What you need to understand that do not commit murder starts here and here. Because if we do not forgive and we get upset and we get annoyed and we get upset and we get annoyed, if I only catch a guy in a dark alley, you know what I'm going to do with him. And guess what? It's a dark alley and no one's looking. And all of a sudden Moshe's going, covering up with sand. You're going to kill me like you killed that other guy? Oh, people know. And he's running for his life. Is that what God wants for you? No. If only I can have this. If only. Well, there it is. And he leaves. He's got so much. He's got insurance. He doesn't need that. No, but I can use it for good things. He doesn't deserve it. He's not a nice person. Starts here, it becomes action. And it's not just patting yourself on the back going, well, I didn't steal. You've been coveting that guy's stuff for years. You might as well have done it. You're just waiting for the right opportunity to justify why it's okay. Yeah? I'll come back to you. If that's okay. You will be brought before the Sanhedrin, and whoever says fool incurs the penalty of burning in the fire of Gehenna. You do not curse that person and take away God in their life. So if you are offering your gift at the temple altar and you remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift where it is by the altar and go and make peace with your brother. Then come back and offer your gift. Remember, sometimes that means walking for the next 10 days to get back home. Fixing up and making 10 days journey back to the temple. Give up a month to go fix up. Otherwise, your offering is worth nothing to me.
And it goes back to what you said earlier about forgiveness.
Yeshua's
I
telling,
like this portion. It will hammer us up.
Yeshua's telling you to take a gift to the temple.
Yes, that too. If someone sues you, come to terms with him quickly. While you and he are on your way to court, or he may hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the officer of the court, and you may be thrown into jail. Settle your disputes before there's bigger repercussions, is what he's saying. Yes, indeed, I tell you, you will certainly not get out until you have paid the last penny. You have stolen, in other words. You have heard that our fathers were told, do not commit adultery. But I tell you that man who even looks at a woman with the purpose of lusting after her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Now remember, I need to be clear here. People will beat themselves up about this because what happens is, this verse pops out and Hasatan will go, beautiful woman walks past. And you go, oh wow, she's really pretty. And then boom, naked image in your head. You're like, what? Don't tell me I'm wrong. This stuff catches you and for a split second you're focusing on that naked image, doesn't matter who or what. And then you have to go, no, where did that come from? That is attack to try and promote lust. What he's talking about Joe, is looking at it and going, oh yes, and then while I'm sitting at home at night going, the things I would do to that woman. You purposely focus on this thing for the purpose of your own desires. You make that person, listen to me, you make that person an object of lust, and that's all they are. Pornography today will steal your love for any person because it implants this is how you need to react. Guys, women, struggle with this idea because what happens is it's all about what I can do to you and not with you. It perverts the idea of making love and it becomes all about my satisfaction. Okay? This is all about, this is how it should happen. When I get home, pornography. I mean, I'm sure you guys do. Man, please, you change the channel on a Friday night, you have to be very careful. All of a sudden, the guy walks through the door, boom, hello, who are you? Naked. And you get married and you're like, I walked through that door 3 times, you didn't take off any clothes. The real world is so far from this false perversion of what is marriage. It is ridiculous, and Hasatan knows this because he starts to implant this thing in your mind, and there's a beautiful thing called muscle memory. And who's ever heard of muscle memory? Okay? Teachers, sports scientists, martial artists, guys will tell you, you do the same thing in the same manner, you train your body to give a certain response. Guitar, driving your car. How many of you had to spend there going, release clutch, accelerate, and now you guys just climb in, you don't even think about it, here you go. Same thing happens with sex. Pornography, training. You train your body how to react to a person or a situation. And you forget to look at the person. Lust will destroy your marriage. Lust will destroy you. Okay? No one talks about this stuff. It is a fact of life. You're going to deal with it. Okay? There's an M word that I'm scared to mention with other kids. But where guys or ladies sit by themselves and they do things to themselves, with themselves, and they focus on things. You train yourself to react and respond accordingly. It's about you. not about the person. There's a difference between that and lust and making love to someone. Okay? There's a connection. And those of you guys who are married and have had good, solid relationships can attest to this. If those are your parents, close your ears. You don't want to hear about this. But they will tell you that the most beautiful moments between a husband and wife is when they connect not only physically, but spiritually, intimately. There's a reason God goes, I want you to know me, and He uses that word, you're there. To know me like a husband knows his wife. It's not just talking about, hey, take off your clothes, let's get busy. That becomes our viewpoint of society. Well, you know, one was fun, maybe we should get 3. I'm not joking. I've got testimony after testimony about guys who said they've walked into clubs and they said, hey, how about it? And women just say, okay, you there and you there, let's go. Don't even know his name. This is happening all around. You have no idea.
There's a threat that everything will be revealed.
They don't care about what's going to be revealed. They care about their
No, but
response.
I mean, currently they're saying it will release the names of all those who are doing that on the internet.
That's the thing, it's so quickly available. What I'm telling you.
Imagine how many people are going to wish to just go out of this continent.
This is about
If they
training
just run and feed them.
the body. Hasatan wants to get your mind so he can take your heart, so he can train your body, and that's how you will react every single time. Your person, your spouse, will become a thing to you instead of a person. I always want to remind myself, try and remind other people, when you do counseling, and all of a sudden people are battering and they're dealing with issues and their past and all the rest of it, and I say, you know what? I want you to step back and remember your wedding day. Remember your wedding day? You stop and you look down. Okay, I had a white wedding, so I draw on my own experience. And I was sitting at the beach and we were joking around, and I had my boys holding my talit, my chuppah, over. It was something very special to me. And I looked down and people were like, shh, 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 because we were all joking, and you know, my mates were like, you know, if you need to run, we got your back. Like all good friends do. You know, shut up. And then I'm sitting over there, and all of a sudden there's this hush that falls at the back. Now we got married on Southborough Beach. Very spoiled. And there's like this entrance that you come in from, it's kind of like a private beach from the one side, and they come and they walk through this green hedge. You can't see them, but all of a sudden the crowd just, and then you turn and you look, and there she is. And you can't stop but standing there going, and there's a smile from one side of the thing. If you were 2 people with a pastor on the beach, it would not make a difference. I did not. We spent hours picking out the perfect song for her to walk down to. I didn't hear it. I looked at Tanya and I saw this beautiful woman who I get to call my wife. And the closer she came, the closer I was coming to realizing this beautiful woman will belong to me. Here and now I can say, I can put my heart on the line and say, I'm never going to leave you, you're mine. You belong to me. I want you to take all I am. I want to take all of you. Here before God, before these people in this covering, Lord, make this marriage work. There's 3 of us standing here in front of you. Tanya, myself, and God in the middle. That feeling is what should happen every time you think of your spouse. When you look across the room and you go, wow, what did I do that I get to sleep next to cuddle, to watch TV with, to make love to? That person. And you compare that to the cheap, nasty, self-gratifying, thank you, wham, bam, throw you, leave myself, go, do, eat a burger, whatever, because I've just had my way with somebody and that's the end of it. Compare that to reality. God's truth. He will steal and he will rob every blessing he gives you. If your right eye makes you sin, gouge it out and throw it away. Better that you should lose one part of you than have your whole body thrown into Gehenna. Please understand that there were not a whole bunch of one-eyed Jewish people running around in Yeshua's time. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, if I look at a beautiful woman with one eye and I pop the one eye out, the other eye is going to do exactly the same thing. When they talk about using your good eye, is talking about goodness, the entirety of your soul, giving with tzedakah. Okay? He's saying you need to get back to the fullness of what this means. Observing God's instruction for your good, for your blessing, is about a heart condition. Abraham understood that. Isaac understood that. Jacob understood that. These guys at Sinai understood that. And after Babylon, these boykies lost the plot. It becomes all about what you can get away with and what you can't. He's restoring the ketubah. He's restoring that marriage, that love, that understanding. Marriage is not just a list of do's and don'ts. Marriage is about relationship. And because I love you, I will not go and sleep around. Because I love you, I will be home. When you say there's funny noises outside, okay, it's probably the dogs, but I'll come. Because I love you, I will get up and I will go look after that baby because you were asleep and you did not hear it. There are so many things we do, but it should come out of your love for that person. I should not have to tell you this. Be nice to each other. That's how you win their heart. You want your wife to be happy, be nice to her. You want your husband to treat you right and love you, be nice to him. How do you think he got you to say yes in the first place? Don't forget, this is not just give and take, and one takes and the other one gives. This is about give and take from both sides. I know you really want to do that and you really want to go have some time with yourself. Can you help me do this quickly so that we can get this done and then you can go out and do your thing so I can do something else? Okay. It becomes a chore. But to love my wife, I will help clean up, even though it doesn't bug me, it doesn't faze me whatsoever. Stay like that until tomorrow. But, at the same time, I need to motivate myself to do this. And at the same time, guys, don't be scared, ladies especially, do not be scared to ask for help. Well, you can see I was walking around. That doesn't cut it with me, I'm sorry. If something's bugging you, and I'm staying in the bedroom. I've been married long enough, I'm not going to go poke a bear. Okay? But if that's bugging you enough saying, oi, help me. What do you want me to do? I need you to clean this. Okay then. You've got direction, you can go. Guys, ladies, we are very simple beings. Do this. And if he doesn't do it, come back 5 minutes later. Do this. Sometimes you have to ask us more than once. Okay? Remember, we don't have to, we're not programmed like you. If something is bugging you, it's bugging you, it's not bugging me. Okay? We just wire differently. So sometimes you have to ask us 2-3 times. That's not an offense to you, but that's the way we're focusing on something. It's a thing. It is. We're not trying to shun you or get you out. I'm just trying to get you to go, look, come now please, get to doing. And you might have to come back 2-3 times. So us as guys, we have to stop, we need to focus, and we're going, stop what you're doing. She's trying to talk to you and go, okay, what are we doing? And then you go and you do that, and then you can come back and do whatever you're doing. Oh, this so went from lust to counseling session. Right? Okay? We need to remember relationship, love, action. And if your right hand tells you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. Better that you lose one part of you than your whole body thrown into Gehenna. And it was said, whoever divorces his wife must get a get. Well, give her a get. The certificate of divorce is literally in Hebrew called a get. It's very poetic. Here's your letter of go away, please, and we'll carry on with our lives. But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except on the grounds of fornication, sexual immorality, that she has committed adultery, that she has left or broken that covenant, makes her an adulteress. What was happening on in this time is like, well, I'm sick and tired of you. Moses said, I can give you this. You're way too much high maintenance. And then I will go off and do whatever I want to do. Because back then, remember, it was more about the men having to trade, the men going into negotiations. The woman never had that place. They never had that authority. I could just shame you and send you away because you obviously did something wrong, and I can go do whatever. What God is saying is that you will make her an adulterer. God's holding you accountable because you couldn't handle this. You couldn't fix up your relationship. You couldn't love her. You caused her to sin. Who do you think God's going to hold that accountable? He's going to hold that person and send her away. Yeah.
Maybe you could give some advice then for young people as well, listening it. You know, how to go about choosing the right person, because, I mean, the way that it is
we will
today.
have to do that on another session. My wife's going to come up here and beat me now. Right. It was said whoever divorces his wife must give her again. Alright. It says, and that anyone who marries a divorcee commits adultery. Remember, in the context of she was not a fornicator. She did not go out and sleep around with everybody. Okay? There are obviously, you know, we're not going to go, no, I'm not going to go into this, but there are circumstances where you're like, in an ideal world, everybody following Torah, if I woke up and I smack my wife, it's not just going to go quiet. She could go to the Sanhedrin and say, oi, he's abusing me, and trust me, there would be big problems. It's not like today, okay, where we can abuse and then go, oh, you're not allowed to divorce him. If they are breaking the ideals of marriage and how am I supposed to look after my wife and love her, and I'm not just talking about physical abuse, emotional abuse, whatever, God is holding that person accountable. Okay? People get this whole idea that, you know, oh, well, you know, obviously that doesn't apply because now I can do whatever I want. They don't understand Torah. We're going to get to that, okay? Again, you have heard that our fathers were told, do not break your oaths and keep your vows to Adonai, but I tell you not to swear at all. Not by heaven, because it is God's throne, not by earth, because it is God's footstool, and not by Yerushalayim, because it is the city of the great king. And don't swear by your head, because you can't make a single hair white or black. Just let your yes be a yes, and your no be a simple no. Nothing more than this has its anything more than this has its origin in evil. Basically, what was happening in the time was, depending on what you swore by, the higher the oath became. So if I swore by the temple, I was swearing by God. Remember, it says there are sections in Torah that talk about oath taking, Nazarite vows, etc. But because I use but I only swore by Jerusalem, you know, it wasn't as bad as taking an oath before God. Alright, they kind of justify the hierarchy of what's important. Alright? You have heard that our fathers were told an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. We're going to get into this next week, but that is not, well, you hit me in the eye, now I have to hit you in the eye. Okay? This is about measure for measure. Okay? So, if you hurt my toe, I cannot go scratch your car. Okay? If you beat up my son, it doesn't mean that I have to go and kill yours. Measure for measure. If you stole, and you guys read about this, you stole an ox, and you got rid of it, and you were bust, you would have to pay back how many oxen?
5.
5 oxen. Okay, if it was still in the property, it was 2. But if you got rid of it, then you would have to replace 5.
But the eye for the eye was to do with the woman losing her pregnant baby, wasn't it?
No, it's measure for measure. Everything in accordance to its measure. The pregnant baby doesn't mean, okay, the Torah, you guys read this, right?
Oh, no, pregnant baby, pregnant woman.
Yeah. I know what you're talking. 2 guys get into a fight. Okay? 2 guys get into a fight. Chas v'chalila, Regan and I beating each other up. and someone's pregnant around us and we fall over and we bump it and then she has a miscarriage. It doesn't mean you're allowed to go and take my children and kill them. It means that now I have to pay recompense and I have to redeem that. I have to take responsibility for that. I have to sort out in accordance with that. And that's why you had Sanhedrin, and that's why you had people to be able to take it before God and go, what is the correct restitution? Uncle Ron?
It's quite interesting because Israelis now have a 10-to-1 ratio. You bump the one side, will bump the 10 of yours.
It's,
That's in the wall.
yeah, biblically, I'll keep quiet. There's a lot of. Alright. Where was I? Alright. You have heard that our fathers were told eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, but I tell you not to stand up against anyone who does you wrong. On the contrary, if someone hits you on your right cheek, let them turn on the left cheek too. If someone wants to sue you for your shirt, give him your coat as well. And if a soldier forces you to carry his pack 1 mile, carry it too. When someone asks you for something, give it to him. When someone wants to borrow something from you, lend it to him. This is all about going the extra mile to settle certain disputes. Okay? This whole thing about being a bondservant, and I want you to highlight bondservant because Paul refers to himself as a bondservant of Christ. And the Torah starts with, if you're given a wife and you, at the end of the Jubilee year or the sabbatical year, you want to leave, and you decide, no, I'd rather stay with my master. I spurn my freedom to belong to another one's household. He would take you to a doorpost, he would stick all in your ear, so he give you an earring, saying that you belong to someone. That's a bondservant. I've chosen to belong to God, spiritually speaking. And this is what Paul was saying, I'm a bondservant of Christ. So if I walk up to said bondservant and I go, Slutko, bah! He says, don't retaliate. But he hit me. He says, turn the other cheek. Why? So he can hit me twice?
Yes.
He says, why? It is not your place to seek retribution because your master is coming home and he will have to answer to him.
There was a thing about the carrying
Carrying the pack.
Yeah, the soldiers back then could ask a Jew to go and carry it, and they have to do that.
Yeah, it was law.
And they were very, very complaining about it. So
there was a mile, there was literally, like in places in cities like Bet Shean on the main road, you literally had mile markers. So you could walk up and there's my stop, poof. But to go an extra mile for someone to show them love, to show them salvation, fixing up, that does not mean you are a doormat.
can you imagine that soldier's mindset? Why is this guy doing this?
So, you need to change the world by your action out of love. And how you respond to people, what you do is going to change that. Not just sitting there and going, oh well, you know what, we're all family here once a week. That doesn't cut it. As soon as I leave this building, well, no one else is watching me, so I don't have to do what I do. You need to act that way. Out there. Why? Because God needs you to show love to people who do not understand God's love. Okay? I'm going to leave it there. If you carry on going up section for section, loving your neighbor, looking at all these things, He's showing you heart. Your heart condition is going to affect everything. The positive commandments, do this, do that. I want you to do this. All of those things stem from how much you love God. Don't do this. Don't commit adultery. Don't lust. If your heart is not set on God, things falter and then all of a sudden it becomes action. Everything becomes action out of what you perceive it and who is God in your life. Okay, let me put it to you this way. If someone you love walks up to you and you want to please them and they say, please do this, because of your love for that person, you will get up and you will go and do it. Right? If you don't love that person and you go, please do this, you're not going to do it. Why? Because your heart is not set on that person. I will bring it back to James. If God is your God, act like it. If you love God, remember, what did Yeshua say about love in his mitzvot?
Those who love me keep my commandments.
Those who love me keep my commandments. What did Yeshua say at Mount Sinai? If you keep my commandments. Before that,
You will be my people.
You will become my peculiar treasure. My precious says, I will love you that much that you belong to me, and then I will be your God and you will be mine. If. And that if is up to you. You either say, I do, and you act like it, or you say, no thanks, and you walk away. But don't pretend for a second that He's not going to be holding you accountable for your choices. And don't pretend for a second that you can just jump in and out of a marriage relationship with someone and go, oh, well, I'm yours. No, I'm not today. No, I'm yours. No, well, I'm really lonely, so I'll be yours today, and then next week I'll be someone else's. That game doesn't work with God. There'll come a point where He'll close the door and He goes, I did not know you. We never consummated that. You do not belong to me. I promised you the world, but you chose something else instead of me. Tov? Yofi? Any questions, any thoughts?
I think this kind of keeps us safe as well, so it becomes easier the more that we do this, because we'll have less things to apologize to people for.
Absolutely. If we do this, we won't have to worry about it. All right.
The portion of John,